What the? You freaking maniac, who gave you a license? Oh, hello. And welcome to My Video Games, Hot or Not, where I will give you the lowdown on the various games in my possession, and tell you which ones suck, and which ones rock. That's right, my opinion is all that matters here. So if you're ready to start, click on the arrow. Welcome to my room, and... Did I hear you pass a remark about it being messy? It's not messy! Why does everybody keep saying that? Anyway, if you want to see my computer games, click here. For my GameCube games, click there. And for a really quick run-through in my other games, click down there. Unfortunately, I can't hang around all day preaching to you, so I'm not even going to touch on most of my old games. Okay, these are just some other games I thought were worth mentioning. First, Harvest Moon, a long-running series that started on the Super NES and has expanded to the Game Boy and now the GameCube. Best game of the series so far is Friends of Mineral Town for the Game Boy Advance. 5 stars. Now, Mario RPG and Mario & Luigi. The first is for Super NES, the second for Game Boy Advance. Both excellent games, but the first is an all-time absolute classic and has arguably the best video game soundtrack ever created. 5 stars for Mario RPG, 4.5 for Mario & Luigi. Next, there's Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, both for the N64. Both superb games, and what I consider to be the best 3D platformers ever made for the system. 5 stars each. And finally, I just wanted to mention Bust-A-Move 4 for the Game Boy Color. Now, the PC and console versions of the game are cool, but the Game Boy Color version sucks. It just sucks. Half a star. Click a game. Any game. When you're done, click the arrow to go back. And if you want to stop my ranting in the middle of any review, click a game. Any game. When you're done, click the arrow to go back. And if you want to stop my ranting in the middle of any review, click that button that shows up in the corner. Yes, my collection of virtual pets. Let's start with the basics. Dogs, cats, and oddballs. All made by PS Magic. Very old games, but they're totally classic. Dogs and cats, as you might have guessed, allow you to take care of virtual dogs and cats. You throw toys for them, feed them, train them to do tricks. The basic stuff, all without the hassle of needing a pooper scooper. Then we move on to oddballs. They act like dogs and cats, but they're totally weird-looking creatures who can spontaneously combust at the drop of a hat before magically reassembling themselves. Frankly, it's the best of the bunch by far, but though sequels of Dogs and Cats were made, all the way up to Pets 5, Oddballs never got a sequel. Anyway, 3.5 stars for Dogs and Cats, and 4.5 for Oddballs. Now moving on, we have Creatures 1, 2, and 3, a series made by Creature Labs. The main difference between it and other virtual pet programs is that the creatures have actual life cycles. They're born, they grow up, they mate, if you're lucky, and they die. All of the games are pretty interesting, but the first one seems rather limited when compared to the sequels, and Creatures 2 is probably the second glitchiest game on the Earth. The third is about as good as it gets. There's also a free downloadable version here to give you some idea of what Creatures 3 is like. I give Creatures 1 3 stars, Creatures 2 3.5, and Creatures 3, or Docking Station, 4 stars. Oh boy, Black and White, the little game that could, but was too lazy to. Putting things simply, you play as a god and you get to rule over your villagers with the aid of a giant magical creature, trying to win over the villages under the influence of other gods by any means necessary. While I can't deny it's fun to randomly select a hapless member of the community and toss them out to sea as an example to the others, there are some serious flaws with this game. Namely, I have never seen a game with more glitches. External glitches seem to happen at random, such as the game corrupting itself or erasing your save file for no reason. And the in-game glitches are pretty freaking annoying too. Many of them will cause the game to crash, some of them just cause things to go totally screwy, and others will warp you back or forwards through levels unintentionally, which pretty much destroys your save file. Plus, after extended playing on any one level, your villagers' demands will start to increase for no reason at all, until it's literally impossible to provide enough resources to keep them happy. Anyway, great game, but could have been much, much better. 4 stars. There's a sequel in development too that should probably be out by 2008, so they better do a good job with that. Ooh, the Incredible Machine. Let me tell you something, if you have a creative streak and like creating stuff, then this game is a definite must-have. There are actually several games in the series, from the even more Incredible Machine to the Incredible Tune Machine, but probably the only one that might still have a prayer of being found on shelves is Return of the Incredible Machine Contraptions. Failing that, try to find the Incredible Machine 3.0. Basically, it's a puzzle game with hundreds of puzzles set out for you to solve involving electric mixers, boxes, marbles, slopes, egg timers, cats, mice, and dozens of other gizmos and gadgets. Some pieces are fixed onto the field, while others are given to you for you to reach the puzzle's goal with. The challenge in solving the later puzzles can keep you glued for months, and as if that weren't enough, you can build your own puzzles. You're free to create puzzles as complex as the hardest provided ones, or harder still if you feel like it. There really aren't any other games like this. 5 stars. And this here game stars the world-famous fat cat, Garfield. A mediocre platform game, really, but with some surprisingly good music. I give the game 2.5 stars, and the music 4.5. 3 Mana? Well, I'll be brief. It's a series of platform games. The first was 2-dimensional, and the sequels were 3D. The first game is nice, but mind-numbingly hard. The second game is much nicer and with a more feasible challenge level. The third has nicer graphics, but less challenge overall and just didn't feel as classic. I give the first 3.5 stars, the second 5 stars, and the third 4.5. Now really, who hasn't heard of Tomb Raider? It's got to be one of the most famous PC franchises out there. Anyway, if you are unfamiliar with it, it's a series of 3D action-adventure games designed to scare the living crap out of you from time to time. Ever had a T-Rex jump out at you while walking through a jungle? I didn't think so. I give the first game 3 stars, the second 4 stars, the third 2 stars, yes, it sucked, and the fourth, dubbed The Last Revelation, 4.5. There's also another game out called The Angel of Darkness, but I haven't played that yet. From what I gather, it's a decent sequel, but with too many glitches. And ba-boom, you've hit my favorite series of all time, Worms. While it may sound like a silly title, and it is, it's one of the best and most humorous turn-based strategy games ever. You play as a team of worms who are at war, and must eradicate the opposing team by using any offensive items at your disposal. Bazookas, dynamite, exploding sheep, mad cows, more crackpot weaponry than you can shake a holy hand grenade at. Worms 1 is cool, Worms 2 is leaps and bounds above, Worms Armageddon is better still, Worms World Party is about on par with the last one, and Worms 3D is not quite the same as the 2-dimensional games, but still cool nonetheless. Respective ratings are 3 stars, 4.5 stars, 5 stars, also 5 stars, and 4 stars. Click a game. Any game. When you're done, click the arrow to go back. And if you want to stop my ranting in the middle of any review, click that button that shows up in the corner. Super Mario Sunshine, the chubby Italian plumber's first starring role on the GameCube. If you don't know who Mario is, then what subterranean cave have you been living in for the past decade? This game is a 3D platformer, very much like its predecessor Super Mario 64. Princess is kidnapped, you set out to save her by collecting shiny things. Difference this time is you have a weird-ass water pack to help you out, and something new without straying from the formula. It ain't broke, so they aren't gonna fix it. 4 stars. One of the first games out for the system, Pikmin is basically a strategy game with some twists. You play as Captain Olimar, who crash lands his spaceship on an alien planet, and gets the native Pikmin to help him recover his spaceship's missing parts. It's a cool game, but the kind you want to be given some time to explore. The problem is, you don't have any. You get only 30 days to collect the spaceship parts, and this is by far the biggest flaw in the game's design. I give it 3.5 stars. It's a good game, really, but they practically designed it to be as short as possible. If you've ever wondered what it's like to keep up with 2 lives at once, it can be a hassle. Animal Crossing is the first and only GameCube game so far to make integral use of the system's built-in clock to keep track of the real world's time and date. In the game, you arrive in a town and are given a house to live in. Of course, it's not free. You have to pay it off by earning money any way possible. And at the same time, you should familiarize yourself with everyone in town, and keep the place free of weeds, and take time to read your mail, and plant trees, and furnish your house, and catch bugs, and go fishing. It's a great game, but setting aside some time every other day to play it takes the fun out of it after some time. Still, it should keep most people occupied for a while. 4 stars. Mario Kart Double Dash, the latest entry in this long-running series of racing games. Get to the end of the track, avoid drop-offs and obstacles, and fire weapons like shells and banana peels at people in your way. Sounds easy enough, and it really should be, but the computer-controlled players have some serious attitude problems this time around, and will tend to ignore their own rivalries to put the human player out of commission. Great game, but limited track selection, average music, and opponents that will have you swearing out loud at the television more than once. 3.5 stars. And here we have the Crown Prince of GameCube games. The game that makes you wonder, why aren't all games this polished? This is Super Smash Bros. Melee. A team of more than 20 Nintendo mascots, some old, some new, decide to settle their differences once and for all in a pointless Smash Fest. But really, why are they fighting? Why would Pikachu have a grudge against Bowser? What reason does Luigi have to put Jigglypuff in a headlock? Non-existent storyline aside, this is a terrific game. And it's not like other fighting games either. Instead of whittling your opponent's health down to nothing and then decapitating them, the goal is to pummel them to increase their percentage of damage, and then, when they're battered enough, you give them the biggest smash you can muster to send them flying out of the playing field. The constant presence of random items also adds to the insanity. It might get repetitive for some people, but it's still one of the top-selling GameCube games out there, and certainly my choice for best title. 5 stars. They've had some video games in the past, but this is by far the best. The Simpsons Hit and Run takes the ever-popular characters of the TV show and puts them in a video game where you can run and drive around, exploring all of Springfield in 3D. You go around running errands for people and completing tasks, or, if you'd rather just go on a pointless destructive rampage, you can do that too. Just don't expect the police to sit idly by. Basically a rip-off of the Grand Theft Auto series, but a darn good one. 4 stars. Oh, and Grand Theft Auto, by the way, I would give 5 stars. And there you have it. Now, throughout the tour, I'm hoping you noticed a little theme. Guess what it is? That's right, I have very few games that I hate. And you know why? Because very rarely do I go out and just buy a game without researching it a bit first. It's really easy. I mean, just go online, look up some reviews for the game, see if it's well liked or not. Then either rent it to make sure you like it, or just go out and buy it. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. So long. And don't come back, freaking losers. Huh? Well, what do you mean we're still rolling? Son of a... Basically, it's a puzzle game with hundreds of puzzles set out for you to solve, including... Some pieces are fixed onto the field, while others are given for you... Darn it! Some pieces are fixed onto the field, while others are given to you for you to... And as if that weren't enough, you can build your own puzzles. You're free to create puzzles as common or as...
What? What do you mean it says complex? Look, I read the script, okay? It said common. I swear, it said common. Okay, that's it. I can't take any more of this. I'm gonna be in my trailer.